Well, I'm spoiled tonight. I'm having an elk steak for dinner because I went and visited my friends at Cook Pigs Ranch 2 weekends ago to slaughter some of my own pigs and hang out with them for the day. And her brother had just gone hunting, and he had an elk tag, so they spoiled me and sent all this stuff home. But on a typical day, this morning I ate 2 eggs, a half avocado, and a banana because I was in a rush to run out the door that early. It was one of those mornings. I got to work this morning after an hour-long commute and realized I still had slippers on my feet, and I didn't put my boots on in my camis. Luckily, I keep an extra pair of boots in my office. So that was this morning's one. So I was a little tired. And then for lunch, I had pulled pork. I used my smoked pulled pork recipe off my website, and I wrapped those in some Improve coconut wraps with some avocado, so the other half of that avocado. And then tonight I'm going to make that elk steak and probably just some lemon pepper roasted asparagus and probably some like grilled broccoli and cauliflower.
Wow, you're making my pesto salmon look pretty pale right now.
Oh, pesto salmon could be but that's simple. I'm just throwing one set of vegetables in the oven and one set of vegetables on the grill because they're both quick in like 10-15 minutes.
Yeah. That sounds like a really, really decadent day.
Yeah, I'm just actually excited for this elk steak. It's been quite a few years since I've had one, and I can't wait to eat it all blue because it's going to be on the grill for about 2 minutes.
Awesome. So you have a ton of different recipes. What would you say are your favorite recipes that come out of your Caveman Feast book?
Oh, my favorite. So I hate to say this because it's bad, but my favorite ones are obviously the dessert, and I have like a staff of people in my cell phone that I can text whenever I'm baking to come to my house and pick stuff up so I don't eat them all. But it's like my emergency contact list for recipes, and I literally use it all the time. I'll get on Facebook or on my phone and tell people. But hands down, my most popular recipe and favorite recipe ever is my crock-pot pulled pork because it literally takes 5 minutes to prepare. And I've had so many naysayers and people be like, you can't make pulled pork in the crock pot. It's going to taste like crap. It's going to do this. And every one of them is a convert. And I'm like, simple is better. Trust me. And they absolutely are raving about that recipe. So hands down, if there's one that I recommend anyone tries, it's that crock pot pulled pork. And then for desserts, any of my brownie recipes. I have some almond butter brownies. I have some banana blueberry brownies. I have blueberry espresso brownies. I apparently like brownies because I make them all the time. And then there's some recipes that aren't in the book that are, coming on the website, but I made a perfect paleo banana bread yesterday that I'm going to post tomorrow. So by the time people hear this, it'll already be up, and it can probably change your Christmas if you're hearing this by in time.
It could change your Christmas. I like that.
I'm telling you, if you leave paleo banana bread out for Santa Claus, you're going to have a happy Santa Claus.
More gifts, maybe. Oh man. So those sound like some awesome recipes. How do you end up staying so lean and still eating those desserts? What's the secret?
The secret is to eat a bite of the desserts and give the rest away. That is, honest to God, the secret. Because if you take into account how much of the batter of those recipes that I'm eating, it probably already counts as 3 servings because I am the most notorious secret spoon licker ever. I mean, every time I scoop batter into a muffin pan, I lick the spoon between every one. So I'm probably throwing off the count in my recipes by 3 or 4 muffins by the time they go in the oven. So I figure by the time they come out of the oven, I shouldn't eat anymore. So I take a bite and then I start feeding the rest of my roommate and my friends to taste test them for me. And I do all those things in batches. All my treats and desserts, normally one day on the weekend, I'll make 3 or 4 dessert recipes and I'll try one of each thing and then I'll give all of them away. And then I won't make another dessert recipe for 2 or 3 weeks when I do it again. So the secret to staying lean is not eating them all and not eating them that often because people have this misconception since they're paleo, they're okay. Well, they're still treats. There's still honey in them. There's still glucose dysregulation, sugar spikes, things that we're trying to avoid, everything kind of in control. But like I tell people, if I had to give you the choice between going and eating a Twinkie, now that they're going to disappear hopefully off the face of the earth, or one of my desserts, I would tell you to eat one of my desserts all day because hands down I can tell you where every ingredient came from. It's from a whole food. It's completely raw, it's organic, it's unprocessed, and I know what it's going to do to you, and it's not preserved to sit on a shelf life, and it's not going to last for 5 years if you unwrap it in the package and just let it sit on the ground.
Yeah, that sounds like it's a good philosophy.
Given the option all day, like I have people all the time, well, I can't go full paleo. I'm like, well, you don't have to. I was like, I don't want you to. I'm not trying to create a dogmatic society. I'm just trying to get you aware of your health and know that there's better options. I was like, so do me a favor. Next time you want a dessert, just make one of mine instead of that boxed meal that you were going to make or those Duncan Hines brownies. And then, I would have to say my conversion rate's pretty good on that one, like 95% or so. They come back to like, these are the most amazing things I've ever had. What have I been doing? I'm like, it's okay. I was like, everyone comes out under their rock sometimes. And then they kind of start the ball rolling, and it gets them excited about it. And the next thing you know, they're like, oh, my God, I made this and I made this, and I feel great, and I didn't feel like crap after, and I didn't want to eat the whole batch. And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy. And then hook, line, and sinker, they're sending me emails every week and commenting on recipes left and right. And it's funny because I remember names, even though I get a lot of comments. Like, it always excites me to see one person post like, oh, my God, I just found your website, and I've never heard of this paleo thing, but I tried it. And then 6 months from now I get a recipe, and they're, like, recommending me change my recipes or how to make them better because they cook them every day.
That is pretty gratifying. The Internet gives you a lot of satisfaction helping people, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. My fans online are the most amazing people ever. It's crazy to touch so many people in so many countries, but it is the most rewarding.
That's awesome. So we've talked a lot about kind of what the civilized caveman eats. You mentioned doing some CrossFit competitions, and I was wondering, how does a civilized caveman work out?
So up until I got in a pretty bad car accident about 70 days ago, and I have not worked out since.
Oh, wow.
So it was pretty bad. The whiplash was bad, and I partially tore my lats from squeezing my steering wheel so hard, bracing for impact. So I've been kind of out of the game. But for a while last year, I was trying to go to regionals for CrossFit. So my days were pretty structured. I was training 5 to 6 days a week and doing sometimes 2 a day, sometimes just combined single sessions of I would have some strength work, some skill work, and then some sort of metabolic conditioning work thrown into play there. And I did that pretty hard and pretty heavy for probably about 7 months. And then during the CrossFit Opens last year, I broke my hand. I fell off a pull-up bar doing toes-to-bars. I shattered my middle knuckle, so I had to kind of drop out. And it was actually a good thing because it made me reevaluate my training. And I realized that I'm never going to go be a Rich Froning or a Miko Salo or a Jason Khalipa and win the CrossFit Games. And I don't need to prove anything to anybody. So I took it as an opportunity to kind of tone my training back and make it fun again. So I now do, when I can train again, I keep my training pretty mild to 2 to 3 CrossFit sessions a week. And I wouldn't say it's specific CrossFit. It's pretty much Olympic weightlifting 2 of those days with some other skill works and some gymnastics involved. And then the one day will be, like a pretty heavy metabolic conditioning day, a long Metcon. And then all the other days of the week, I will go play on my slack line in my backyard. I will go ride my bike. I will go for a walk. I'll go climb a tree. There's a really cool indoor trampoline park near my house I can't wait to go back to. And I will do things like that to kind of supplement my training that are playful and fun, because I think people completely underestimate fun and play. And I had this conversation with someone earlier today. As a kid, I remember, I never sat in front of a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo. I mean, I was always out getting hurt. I was falling out of trees or crashing my bike or, getting scraped up knees and elbows from rolling down a hill. But I don't see that stuff anymore, and I think that was huge as a child and even as an adult now to play. And Mark Sisson talks about it all the time. Every time I hang out with Mark or I see him talk, he's always talking about the art of play, and it's so underappreciated, and I think adults need to do it more. And it's good for you psychologically and physically because it's keeping your training dynamic and you're enjoying it while you're doing it, so you want to continue to do it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I wrote a post recently called I Quit Working Out, and it was really, really well received, and it was just all about doing fun stuff, playing, just having fun with your body instead of grinding away and injuring yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I listened to a podcast you recently were on, and you shared your views about kind of self-image. So I'd like to get a little deeper into kind of mindset here. Do you mind sharing those views?